Yes, back again with my friend Cody Lindley, the ActiveCampaign Marketplace Manager, for this episode's installment of Automate That, the ActiveCampaign Automation Recipe Show. Cody, how are you doing today? It looks like you're in a new location.
I'm doing great. I just moved into my new location. We've got the camera so you can make sure you don't see any movie boxes, but I'm so excited to stream from my new home studio to you, our ActiveCampaign audience.
Yes, absolutely. Love it. Hope the move was relatively painless. Here you see us in our chef hats. As always, we're ready to get cooking for you with this installment of the recipe of the week. We've been talking about sales CRM, talking about sales automation and how you can use that to kind of transform your CRM from just something that you feel beholden to into something that actually is a revenue engine and drives action, movement, customer acquisition for your business. So without any further ado, it's recipe reveal time. Cody, what are we looking at?
We're looking at what you just mentioned, Ernie. We're looking at move deal to the next stage when task is completed. Who's it for? It's for any industry that's using the sales CRM. This is truly a great ops-based automation recipe that any business can use. You can customize it and make it your own. Features, we're definitely talking about deals and tasks with this automation. Use cases, as I mentioned, it's mostly ops, it's mostly a backend. We've covered a lot of awesome, customer-facing marketing automations in this. We wanted to show you something, how to use automations, not just customer-facing, how to really power them up for your team. Obviously, with the subcategory of sales, as this is for our sales CRM. Experience level, starter, it does rely on you knowing tasks and using tasks, but once you're comfortable with tasks in our sales CRM, this will be real easy for you. Stage of the customer journey, we like to look at it as reach and engage because you're always making sure you're reaching and engaging where they're at, but you could also consider this a close and convert stage as well.
Awesome. Yeah, love that point about how we've featured a lot of kind of external customer facing automations. It looks like there is no external communication going out into this.
Oh, there isn't. We'll get to it in the journey of the recipe, but you'll see it's just two simple actions.
All right, perfect. So what does this recipe really let us do here?
So this recipe is going to do something that every sales team will probably say, thank goodness, once we say it. It automates the manual process of moving the deal across your pipeline to keep your team working on what's important, which is, making sure they're reaching out to people, making sure they're staying, up to date on the product and everything. It just, all that tedious work of, oh, we just met, let me, drop in notes, let me move it across, all that. So automated by this, which is amazing. It's going to highlight, the second thing is it highlights the important tasks that lead to the next stage. Now, this isn't, you could use it for every task you ever create, but we really like to think of it as highlighting the important tasks that will lead to the next thing. For instance, if you have a negotiation call coming up, once that call's done, you're moving on to contract signing, sending out that contract, getting it signed. Things like that where you just know the one-to-one, it's so easy to automate these things. And of course, the third thing, which is huge, is let's say something doesn't go according to plan. Let's say an intro call ends with already negotiations and they're ready to sign. They were just a hot lead. Or, you know what, we just did a different call in the middle of the process, but they're not quite ready to move on. That's what's great about this. You still have the ability for human touch to assist with automation. You can still, move them to the appropriate stage, do other things, but this is when things are working the way they intend in your sales process, just automating it across for you.
I love these points. These benefits are so important and so massive, right? Automating manual process, saving time, eliminating the possibility for human error, and then combining human touch with automation, which is something that we talk about a lot. Oftentimes automation is sort of misconstrued as this thing that's just the same for everybody all the time, or it's just everybody gets the same message at the same point in time. But really this one is sort of the automation to remind you to make the personal touch. Is that kind of what I'm getting here?
It's truly the definition of customer experience automation, a unique path for unique people that sure, everyone goes through it, but what it does for different people and what it could mean for different people is infinite.
Love it. Okay. So moving forward here, if we're going to the automation store, it looks like we've got a short shopping list here. What are we looking at, Cody?
We do. We've actually only got 2 items, but because we're not going to have a trigger, I added it to the list to make sure that people understood there's no trigger. The trigger does exist, but it lives on the task itself, on that task action. If you scroll to the bottom of the task, you'll see triggered automation when this task is assigned or complete. This is a completion, and then you would obviously connect it to the automation. But then at the store, we're picking up a move deal action and an add task action with, as we show you here, short list. But if something at the automation store catches your eye, a lot of flexibility to build it into this process.
Ooh, love that. And thank you for the clarification there on the no trigger. This is certainly, I think it's a first for Automate That. So I'm excited to get into this.
Me too.
All right. So we've got the ingredients home. We also don't have a trigger, which is great. We've got them on the counter. We're ready to get cooking. Mise en place. What do we got to do first?
Well, here's what we got to do. As I talked about a little, process before going live, we want to decide what task should lead to what stage changes. This is an important aspect of this that I would like to point out is you'll probably import this automation. It's not a one catch-all. It's not for every single type of move across. It's just you'll create one for moving from negotiations to contract. You'll create one for moving from intro call to demo. Specific ones that you want to create. So you're going to be importing this a number of times. But that means that determine what tasks you're going to have in your system that lead to this automation and this stage change. Which sub point here, determine if there are other automated changes you want to occur. Like we said, there's a lot of flexibility with adding things in this. Maybe you have a small team and Mike handles all the intro calls and has a deck he's used to using and demoing. And then you pass it off to Sarah, who has actually like some amazing product knowledge, can help people determine what plan level or what membership level they want to be on. You could, easily switch off deal owners. You could, as we point out here too, automate a message thanking the customer for their time. There's no reason this can't be customer facing. It just isn't by default. So that's a lot of, you just want to kind of, put some thought into it before you just put it in, turn it live and everything.
Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
Of course, yeah.
Leah had talked about that a little bit. We were talking about how could you, if you're a business owner who doesn't really necessarily have a defined sales process, how do you go about determining that, right? And Leah had said, if you have a customer, think about the process, write out the story that they went from, when they found out about you to when they became your customer. What were the points that you needed? So that's really going to be key and important here to then putting it to practice in this automation and automating those steps that each customer has to go through.
Ernie, yeah, I would say by automating this, you discover your sales process. I would be as bold to say that. As you're building this, you'll start realizing what you want to do when, what leads to what on average. And even if it's not the best sales process out of the box, you put it there, you start working on it, you have an idea, and then you can iterate, something we're fond of doing here at ActiveCampaign, as you know.
Oh, yes.
And then, of course, this last one here is a little before or after. So the thing is, since you do put it on the task itself, the automation, which automation to trigger, you can either build out the tasks before or after building out this automation, but it's only after you've imported this automation and built it out and turned it live that you can link it to the task. So you'll build it out, you'll know it's good. You can turn it live again because there's no trigger. You don't have to worry about anyone signing up for a list and you weren't ready for it and you haven't built out the emails. This, because they're not entering until the task tells them to, you go back, you have it live, you put it on the tasks that you want it to be on, and you're good to go.
Got it. Makes sense. Awesome. Okay, so here it is in all its glory. Again, small but mighty. We've talked about the benefits that this thing has, but here's the journey of it. Again, pretty short. Cody, what are we looking at?
Yeah, so pretty short. Our use case, as I don't believe I mentioned yet, but I'll tell you now, is, right after the first one, right after the intro call, whether that was a good intro call, a bad intro call for the sales rep and for the user, we know we're going to show them a demo because that's going to help answer questions. Regardless of anything else, this is going to show them the product. So a lot of people do demos as their intro call for that purpose. But for our use case, we'll have this. So the first thing that happens, the task of the intro call finishes, adds the contact to this automation. First thing that's going to happen is their deal is going to change from that intro call to demo, because we know we're doing that. And then the very next thing we're doing, writing that task for the demo right here. Now it says call, we probably want to Zoom instead, but that's just our kind of placeholder action. That can be any task you have set up to. It doesn't have to be call. As you're setting it in, you get to set that up. But yeah, like I said, if I wanted to put in a send email action, thanking them for their time, I could. If I wanted to change deal owners, I could. I could do any of the actions right here, obviously, which is great. And the other thing is, it also lets you trigger off other things. We have a trigger for, when a deal stage changes. So if you're like, I like my automation separate and to handle different things. This could be the ops, and your front facing could be another, triggered on when they enter that stage. You know, I've said it before, I'll go with it again. I love the Christmas lights metaphor. When you have a lot of very focused small things, if one goes out, it's so easy to figure out where the issue is, resolve it. Or if one's performing poorly, you can find out based on open rates and other reporting and help solve that issue, instead of have one giant automation that does it all and you're like, they aren't engaging and I don't know where to start.
Yeah, such a good point there. Just kind of having more individualized, specific automations. And like you said, you know exactly where it's gone wrong and where to look when you need to fix it. And then this is just a great representation of what you had mentioned before about really defining that sales process. So, you know, you've got the deal stage from membership to demo. This is where you're going to have those individual stages, whether it is, you know, initial call, discovery call, demo, negotiations, contract, or even after the point of sale, right? Like onboarding or ongoing education, post event, whatever the case may be. You know, you can have as many pipelines as you want to within the ActiveCampaign deal CRM. So just important, you know, you could have all these different journeys mapped out, and then obviously the task doesn't have to be call. It could be send an email. It could be just a notification that you should follow up in any way that you see fit, right? Some conversations are different. They might warrant different kinds of follow-up. But yeah, love it. Tons of different customization. And this is great. So once we have this set up, what other recipes could we be using in terms of sales automation for the CRM?
Ernie, I'm so glad you asked. I'm very excited about all three recipes that we have on offer, because it's the very first one. It's kind of an alternate version of doing what we just saw, especially if you're using Calendly, which a lot of ActiveCampaign users do. They connect that integration. We connect with so many integrations. It's great. It's very powerful, but this is one example. With Calendly, move deal stage based on appointment. So you can look at the type of appointment type they've made. If you have gone in Calendly and specify, you know, oh, I'm sending this person this link, which is for an intro call, this link, which is for negotiations. Once they set up that appointment, they'll enter and the stage will change. And that one's a little bit more reactive. You don't have to think like, oh, what follows this? It's just when that is signed up for. So it'll always be the next thing you have going, which is really, really amazing. The bottom two, too, I really am excited about. There are two things that do similar things in very different ways. First is the one deal metrics. We're talking about, again, if you're building out that sales process, or you just want to see how your sales process is doing. One deal metrics is that when a deal is won, we send a notification to the deal owner with a link to a form asking them, hey, do you have a few minutes? Can fill out what led to this one deal. Was there anything on this deal that definitely, you already like definitely cemented it for you, or something in a conversation that you realized was great? Lost deal metrics, since we don't always know what's going through someone's head, we don't notify our deal owner and ask them. We actually just send an email and we say, hey, we're so sorry that, we couldn't make it work. Is there any feedback you'd like to give us? Now, obviously, they are a lost deal. Your completion rate of that form may be a bit lower, but we guarantee you the feedback that you get from someone. If you hear price, 10 times in a row, 100 times in a row, maybe the market fit isn't perfect for that level of price. If you hear, I was super hot, super excited, and then I didn't hear from you guys for a week, or I couldn't get an appointment with you for a week, that's another thing you can issue. Or you guys contacted me 14 times in 2 days. We got to look at that too. It really helps you shape out that sales process until you have it. As we've said, that's what ActiveCampaign is all about. And the sales CRM is just, how can we set this, have it go, and it just be our business automated?
I love all three of these, because these three are all great examples of automations you can use within a CRM to really move it from, again, that thing that you just feel like you have to update. It's sort of just a burden on your day. It's a manual, tedious data entry. And now this thing is working for you, right? You're harnessing the power of your other tools. You're creating deals when they want to talk to you. And then these last two are so important in terms of just refining and optimizing your sales process. Like you said, you could define that sales process. The automation that we featured today might be a way for you to actually cement it and kind of create it in your brain if you haven't done that yet. But then these two are really going to help you use automation to actually refine and optimize it. What is leading to won deals? What can you do more of? What is leading to and resulting in lost deals? And where are the pitfalls? Where are the gaps? Where are the holes in your sales process? Cody, thank you very much. Really appreciate this. This is very, very helpful. As always, my friend. And that's that.
Automated, Ernie. Have a great day. Thanks for having me on.
Hi, thank you for watching. If you are enjoying Growth Decoded, you can find a link in the description to sign up and join the Grow team. You'll get exclusive content and opportunities that have to do with the show. You can also hit the subscribe button for ActiveCampaign's YouTube channel somewhere down here, and you will never miss an update from us.